Hi there, I'm Woolly Wormhead, a knit designer specialising in knitted hats, technique and construction. Today I'd like to talk you through what you can expect from a Woolly Wormhead pattern. I have a sample pattern to show you, to talk through how it's laid out, what you can expect from it, the various links and things that are included in it, so you get an idea of what you get before you pay. I firmly believe that knitting patterns are teaching materials. I know not every designer sees it that way, but at the very least they're instructional because they are something that are telling you how to make something. For me, I think I see them as educational because I have a teaching background. I used to be an art and textiles teacher for 11 to 19-year-olds in Southeast London, and it taught me a lot about teaching and sharing information and how people learn. And I love teaching. So it's a natural step for me to want to consider my knitting patterns as educational materials. And before I even kind of like started to consider that my patterns were educational materials, people were always telling me that they learn things from my patterns because I maybe use some techniques in unusual places or throw in something, an unexpected detail to add extra refinement that people then learn how to do. That doesn't make my patterns difficult. Because the support is in there, and I'm going to show you that in the sample pattern. But what it means is that each of my patterns are things that you will learn something with. You're not just knitting a hat. There are ways to learn new techniques, to explore different stitch patterns, to explore colour, different constructions. There's so much that I love to put into my patterns. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change my screen over. I'm going to take you to my website and show you where you can find this pattern, download it, and then I will go through the pattern as the PDF by itself so I can kind of go into some detail and show you what to expect. Okay then, so now we are on the front page or the home page of my website. This is an incognito tab using Zero account, so I can show you the process of accessing the pattern and downloading it. And it also means you don't have to look at my hundreds of tabs that I have open. To find the pattern, you want to go into the shop, which is this tab here. Go down to Browse All Products. You can see there are a number of different search functions and filters here. There is a lot that you can search for on this website, including accessibility, language, all sorts here. What we want is the search products tab. Click that open and we type in here Mere. Anything that you do to search on this area, you have to click the apply filters for now. In the future, I'm hoping that'll be automatic, but for now, click the apply filters. And there is the Mere pattern. Click on that and it brings up all of the information that we might need to learn more about the pattern, what we're going to get. Now, on the description tab down at the bottom, there is some general information about the patterns where you can get support, FAQ pages, all of that sort of stuff that you need to know before you purchase the digital download. Please do read it. It has everything you need in it. Then you have the product details, which are specific to each pattern and things like the designer name, translators, ISBNs, copyright date, and so on. The next tab here is not necessary for this tutorial, but it's a useful one to know. The additional information is all of the tags that this pattern has within the database that runs back end behind the search function. So this one comes in colorblind friendly format, screen reader friendly format, and large print. Now, the all of my patterns are colorblind friendly, and the screen reader and large print are one format in themselves. It gives you the languages, which are English, French, English, Czech, French, and Italian. It tells you what type of instructions it has, the type of stitch patterns, the type of yarn it likes, etc. So if you've used any of that information to search for a pattern, this extra tab just gives you everything you need to know that relates to that pattern from the database perspective. So it's a handy tab to have. So not critical for this tutorial, but it's a good one to know. Now, as we've just said, this pattern, because it actually does end up being relevant to today's tutorial, does come in all of the formats that are available on my website. Now, I have the standard format, which is a print-friendly format. That means that the charts are on their own page. The layout of the pattern has been considered for printer-friendly use, so there's not lots of color information all the way through, etc. All of my patterns are colorblind friendly anyway. And that's the standard format. And that format is available in English, Czech, and Italian for all of my patterns. There's a growing number available in French as well. The other format is the screen reader and large print format, which is the LVA postfix that you'll see on the file names. We don't have that many available yet on the website in that format, but I'm hoping to add to those in the future. So although the Mere has an example of all of the types of formats that are available, it doesn't mean that all of the patterns on the website are in that format. It just means that this is our example, so you can see how they've been translated. You can see whether it works for you. So it's all there. So now what we want to do is we want to add this to cart. You need to then go to view cart because it's the only thing that we are adding today. There's no coupon to apply because this is free, but if you are purchasing anything else, you would apply it here. And then we proceed to checkout. Now, if you do not have an account already with my website, this is where you'll need to put in your information to be able to place your order. Now, I am going to kind of like transition over to the next screen having done this because it means I've got to put in a load of information and you don't need to see me do that. And I don't want to put any sensitive information in there either that you don't want to see. So I'm going to kind of move on to the next stage and show you what it looks like when you have actually made the purchase. Okay, so having filled in your sensitive information to create your account, this is the first screen that will show up if this is the first order that you have placed on the account. Or actually, I think it happens when you have just placed a fresh order. It automatically shows you the files that you're able to download straight away. You'll also get an email with the list of the files that you're able to download. So let's just have a little look at those for a minute. We'll scroll up here. We have this first one is the English language in the standard print format. This second one, it has an LVA postfix, sorry. That's the large print and screen reader friendly format. The one with the IT is the standard format in Italian, FR standard format in French, and CZ is standard format in Czech. And you will be able to download all of these here. There is a limit to the number of downloads. That information is on the tab, so please keep that in mind. There's no expiration date, but it will expire after the number of downloads that you have there. Now, if you accidentally click away from this screen, we can scroll back up and you can see this information here at the top, this tab called My Account in the top browser here. My Account is where you will find all information that applies to any orders that you have, any workshops you've taken, etc. Everything's in there. So if you lose this screen, always go up to the My Account tab. You may need to reset your password if you've forgotten it, but all the information is available there as well as under this screen. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to transition the screen over to the PDF. So as if we've downloaded this, and I'm going to talk you through the PDF and show you what that looks like. Okay, so now we've downloaded the English language standard format version of the Mere, and here it is in Adobe Reader. Now, other PDF reader softwares probably look very similar. They probably have similar functions. But before I start to talk through the pattern, I just want to show you a couple of things that you can do within Adobe that nobody realizes you can do. You can read a pattern on screen like a book. You can flick through and you can change your layout and your format, and you can zoom in and out as well. Adobe has a number of different features and they're adding to them all the time. So currently it is, if we go into the view, it is showing as 2-page display, but the cover page hasn't been selected. So if I select that, then it shows the cover by itself, more like an ebook or a book. It separates the cover and it sets up your left and right pages slightly differently. And it would look slightly different, but you're still reading 2 pages at a time. If we go back to view, we can go into page display again and just take 2-page view off, click off that, and then no, let's go back to 2-page view off. Right, sorry, we need to click on the single page view. There we go. It's back to just being single pages now. When you're on single page view, This is the best place to be if you actually want to zoom in and out, because you can now go to fit to width, which means that you can go to the full width of the page within your browser and read through. You've also got other zoom options in there, which I won't cover all of them, but I encourage you to explore the different things that you have there within view that helps you read through the page. Now I'm going to put it back to zoom, back onto zoom to page level, and I'm going to go back onto 2-page view. Okay, because I want to talk through about the actual pattern layout itself. Now, all of the premium patterns that I have now got a front cover. They never used to have. This is part of the great pattern reformatting. They need a front cover because it means that when your thumbnails are in your hard drive or wherever you're looking for your patterns, wherever you store them digitally, they're easier to see. It's much easier to see what pattern it is when you've got a whole page that's just a picture of the hat. It also gives you the language edition that's on the front. And also, because all of my patterns have ISBNs, it's helpful to have a front and back page to meet the ISBN criteria. So that's why it's been done. But it's just mostly practical. And I think they look rather nice too. Then we come through to the next page. Now, if you're familiar with the older style layout, that 3 images section here where you've got 1 large portrait and then 2 smaller ones, that stayed the same. That's particularly useful for me to be able to show the hats from different angles. The Meret, we photographed this, I don't know how many years ago, so there aren't as many clear shots of it because we weren't as good at photography then as we are now. In the newer patterns and the premium patterns, there'll be a crown shot, a side shot, and a front view. This, apart from the front and back cover, this is the only page where there will be any color printing or color whatsoever. The rest of it is in all grayscale throughout. Now, this information page is gives you everything you need to know: your yarn weight, your yardages, the size it's shown in, the sizes available, absolutely everything. Now, when I showed you the Meret page on the website, that one is ever so slightly different to all of the other premium pages. Because it's a free pattern, you can download and access this information straight away. But all of this information here is on the front, it's on the website page for all of the premium patterns. So you actually get access to all of that before you buy. You know what yarn you need, you know what yardages, what yarn type, what needle size, there's notes for adjustment, the fit size, the finish size, the gauge, etc. All of that is actually on the website page before you download. The Meret is the one exception because it's free, so you can download and look at that. So that is all of your information there that you need to know about this pattern. So moving on to the next page, you have all the abbreviations for the written instructions. Now, the written and charted are separate, apart from 1 or 2 exceptions, which I'll mention, I'll talk about in a little while. All of them have got the written and the charted separated out, and they're both into kind of like been laid out to be specifically friendly, so that for printers, that you're not kind of like printing off one line that goes off by itself on an end of a page or something. Here you have, these links are to premium tutorials that you can click on, and you will be able to download photographic tutorials to guide you through that particular technique. Now, these are tutorials that are hidden on my website. They are accessible only to people that are using my patterns. I have front-facing public tutorials on the blog. All right, these ones are specifically for you when you are buying a premium pattern, or if you want to try that on this pattern here. I do it this way for a couple of reasons. One, it keeps the page count down. All right, it means that, like, if you're like me, that's ADHD, you haven't got loads of pages and then haven't got walls of text to look through. 2, it keeps the file size down. It means that I only put in what's absolutely essential for this pattern, and you can download any additional information that you might need or you may not need. All right. Also, it keeps the number of photographs of the pattern out as well, so that it makes it more printer friendly. And it means that if you've used any of these tutorials from me before, or if you know how to do a technique and you don't actually need that tutorial, then you don't need to download it. If you do need to download it, you only need to download it once. All right, so it means that it actually makes it more accessible in lots of ways. It's smaller file size, less pages to wade through, less chance of getting confused. And it means if you know something already, you don't have to download it. You haven't got like however many pages to scour through to find out what you need. When we have the social media hashtags, I know some platforms are doing away with hashtags, but actually they're incredibly useful for connecting people that can see other projects, especially people that can't use Ravelry. So this is, try and using them. And in the hashtags, every word that's part of the hashtag is capitalized at the beginning to make it easier for screen readers to work out what the hashtag says, but also people like me that have other kind of reading impairments. It means that it makes it easier to see what the different words are. Then we come to the pattern notes. Now, these are normally things like adjustments, how you can alter it for different sizes, or if there's any particular information that might be useful that you need to know before you cast on. So do read through the pattern notes. As I say, a lot of the time it's telling you how you can adjust the pattern, but there might be other information that could be very, very useful in there. Now, because this pattern has got two different brim types, there's a how-to for the rolled brim and a how-to for the rib brim. And then it goes straight into the brim for the body, the both versions, because you start them off different ways. And then from there on, then it's the same all the way through. The body is then worked. There are different instructions for the different sizes so that you know what's happening here. Then the crown is for all, and then it finishes off there. And then we kind of come through to the next page, and then you've got the chart page that's by itself. Now, the Mere is created by panels that you can't see the panels because they're all done internally, but it means that one chart for one panel gets repeated all the way through. So this chart that you have on this page is repeated however many times around the hat, and it's the same for all sizes. And you'll have a summary of the written instructions that you need to cast on. So basically this chart page is self-sufficient. You can work the entire pattern without having to refer to the written instructions. There are a few exceptions. Some of my patterns do have a note saying please read or check the written instructions, because otherwise this page gets really crammed and the text gets really small. So, but I have aimed for the majority of my patterns to be self-sufficient on this one chart page. And here you'll have the chart key, as well as everything that you need to finish your hat all the way through. And then you have the back page, which has some information about me and my family and how you're supporting us and how we appreciate that. But also in here, there are links where you can get help, like links to my forum, links to additional tutorials on my blog, and also where you can join the newsletter, like the Woolly Hat Society and other bits and pieces like that. Then at the top, you've got, again, a summary of the product details with the ISBN, because I need to put that information on for the ISBN, and then the terms of use. I am more than happy for you to make and sell hats from my patterns. I just ask that you give me credit for it as possible. But that's the summary of the terms of use, and please don't share the patterns with anybody online. That's another, you know, that's another given. So that information is all on the back page. So not all of the patterns fit neatly on written instructions wise onto one. Some of them run over two, occasionally into three. I do try and design my patterns so that they are succinct and refined and not too long and wordy. I've spent a long time, I've been doing this for 20 years. I've spent a long time practicing the skill of writing succinct, clear patterns so that your instructions and repeats are very evident and you understand, and there's nothing to be confusing, but there's also not lots of text to wade through. I appreciate that a lot of people like to read maybe the history behind a design, or they might like to hear more information about, you know, I don't know, where the yarn came from or other little bits and pieces. But that's not something that I actually include in my patterns. Reason being is because my want is to keep the patterns accessible, keep the page count down, and so you only have the critical information that you need to make sure that everything is there for you to do your pattern, but you don't have to the extra. That's why there's no extra photos put through. There's no romance text or anything in my patterns. That's all on the website. If you want to look at that, you can do, but it means that your PDF is low in bandwidth, printer friendly, colorblind friendly, neurodivergent friendly. We are trying to cover all of that in there, and that's how I've approached it. I hope that's given you an overview of how my patterns are laid out, and given you some confidence to download that pattern and try it out and see how it works for you. And if you enjoy it, go ahead and try another pattern on my website. All right. Thank you for following along. If you can do the YouTube thing and do subscribe and like and leave a comment, that would be fantastic, because I would love to grow my channel and share more tutorial videos with you, be able to provide more free resources, because that would, be brilliant for everyone. So thanks again, and see you next time.